Hello, Eva.
Hello.
I understand that as a philosophical practitioner, you do all kinds of activities. You work with artists and you work with all kinds of workshops. But one interesting thing that you do is you work with something that is called
Day of Dialogue.
Day of Dialogue. What is a Day
Yeah.
of Dialogue?
Well, I work with all kind of people, and we have Socratic conversations in our organization, but that's only for about 8 or 10 people, and people who are educated and can speak well and can reflect already very well. So I wanted to make it bigger and have some kind of Socratic conversations all over the city with all kind of people. So people who are not educated as well, people who are in poverty, people from all different backgrounds, social, economical, religious background, all different backgrounds, cultural backgrounds. So we had those dialogue, conversation, meeting groups with about 7-8 people, and we had them all over the city. With a lot of organizations working with us, about 35 organizations, and all over the city there were these tables where people were having a dialogue, but at the same time, on one day, all about the same topic. For instance, being part of the city.
What it means to be part of a city.
Yeah. For instance, one year the subject was being part of the city. And then we had this dialogue. What does it mean for you to be part of the city? Give us some examples. Give us some ideas what it means for you to be part of the city.
And where you couldn't have been the only moderator for all the groups.
No, not at all. We had 35 groups. We had more than 150 people. No, so I did train the trainer. So I set up a training for people to train them how to facilitate a dialogue. What is a dialogue? What is the difference from a debate, from discussion, and then experience and having a dialogue together.
And you consider this a philosophical dialogue?
Yes.
In what way is it philosophical?
Because we were asking questions. When do you feel you are part of something? And then we asked further questions. So give us an example. And when people are giving an example, why is this being a part of something? What does it mean to be a part of something? So we were experiencing, investigating the concept of being part of something. And it was really an investigation as a group. What does it mean for us? And for me, that's why it was philosophical dialogue.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. It was an investigation.
And how was the activity in the different groups? Was it very different in each group? Were there interesting processes?
It was, well, at first people were saying, oh, we can't all have the same subject because it will be too narrowed. But I was saying no, because there will be different subjects, different examples, so it will be different investigations. And they were very different. Yes, but at the same time, at some level, when behind the concrete examples, at the same time we were finding something that was in common, what it means of being part of the city. It was about making contact. We could find some similarities between the groups. Yeah, and it was nice because sometimes, well, we mixed the groups. We had all those organizations of people in poverty, of church, of free thinkers, different African, Jewish, so all kind of organizations, and we mixed the people. So we had all those mixed dialogue groups. So people from very different backgrounds were for the first time in conversation with each other, and just the fact that it wasn't a debate, and that the only aim was to listen to each other and try to understand how someone could have such a different example, or could have such a different idea of what it meant for them to be part of the city, was very illuminating, or how can I say it?
Were there interesting moments or events in one of those groups or some of those groups that you want to share with us?
There was a young African boy he had such a different story. There were two older ladies who came together to this, and they had a story about I don't feel part of my street anymore because so many people of different backgrounds from Africa or other countries are now living in my street, and I don't feel part of it anymore. And then there was this African boy who didn't feel part of the street either, because he was people looked at him as if he was a foreigner, or as if he was an outsider. So that was two parts of it were two different stories of the same example, and that was very nice to see how these ladies could see that this African boy was also feeling an outsider. They felt an outsider in their street, and that was a very nice moment that these different stories could be together, and that they could see that, well, they didn't actually live in the same street, but it was the same kind of story, and from such a different perspective. And it was nice that they could, that they really listened to each other, that they could understand and feel the other side of the story.
So was it an educational experience from your perspective? Did it educate people to listen differently or to think differently?
Well, of course, it was only one afternoon, so that was very short. But it was new for people. It was new, and some people came there to have a discussion about how to change things in the street. But then, when they realized it was not about having a debate or having some topics they could hand over to the city or the government, it was very new for them.
So what do you think the effect on people was?
It was very short, but we asked them at the end of the afternoon to catch something, because it was a dialogue. We didn't have it on film. To catch something, we asked people, what kind of story did change your perspective, or what kind of formulation made you think different? So everyone wrote it down. So we had many postcards. We put them up in the city hall. It was very nice to see and to read. And we asked people, in what kind of way did you change your mind? And some people said, this story really touched me, or yes, this story made me think different. So in that way, it was an educational, it had a small educational effect.
Are you thinking of doing more such events?
Yeah, we did it every year.
So you've done it.
It was once a year,
So what other topics did you do?
Being part of the city, work, also the importance of work and having work, and what does it mean for you to work. So we did it 3 times. First time it was live in Ghent. It was very easy, to live in Ghent, just to live in
your
Ghent.
city.
Yeah. And then it was work, and then it was being part of the city.
What will be the next one?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Well, that's fascinating. It's a way of involving a lot of people in some philosophical thinking.
Yes, and also people who, like those poverty organizations who would never, if you drop the word philosophy, they're already afraid. So we didn't use the word philosophy. That's why we called it a day of dialogue.
So you never used the word philosophy in this context?
No, we didn't, because it might we discovered it frightens people to use the word philosophy in some context, so we use the word, the slogan, Day of Dialogue.
So you were underground philosophers, sort of,
Maybe, yes. I really wanted to have it big and in the city with people who are not paying to come to a philosophical conversation group, or who would never think of going to a philosophical conversation group. It's just too high leveled. So we did it the other way around.
Well, very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.